Overgiving is a form of avoiding abundance. And this is commonly done by codependents, people who are seeking externally what they really are craving more of in their lives. And I can speak to this because I am one and I have to manage this within me. I often say here on the show that I'm an overgiver, but I've been in recovery and have been working on it so long that I'm able to manage it most of the time. But what happens is overgivers who are in this predominant space, and it's not just a sometimes space, we end up giving away what we really want more of for ourselves. And it can happen consciously and subconsciously, where we're thinking, if I give more love, if I give more support, if I give more money, if I give more time, if I give more energy, then when I need it, or then it will be reciprocated by these people to me. And that's what I really want. And then we're left so disappointed because most of the time it's not reciprocated. Because when you're coming out of an overgiving space, it's actually not a healthy energy to begin with. And like I said, overgiving is a form of avoiding abundance. So you never actually get in return what you put out, which causes all sorts of health ailments, mental illnesses, and just absolute discontent with your life. This is The Giver, the 4 money languages, part 4.
If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash making advice. Now let's get to it.
What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your abundance, your relationships, and everything in between. Today is the last day of my biggest Black Friday sale ever. You want to get into my famous ProjectME Posse business coaching membership and have everything that you need in a simple and straightforward fashion to cut through all of the noise and the bullshit that is out there offline and online about how to monetize your gifts, passions, skills, and talents so you can make a crap ton of money online while working less and making more. This is it. There are literally only a few spots left. I rarely open new membership spots inside my membership. We keep this membership at an intimate size. This way, so in our weekly live trainings, you guys can get your questions answered. I notice when you're missing. So you have accountability. I am very, very proud to say our group is so supportive, collaborative, helpful. You want help with naming something. You need help with figuring out which tech platform to use. If someone knows someone for graphics, what to do here, there is no shade thrown. And I highly monitor everything, not to control people, but to ensure it is a safe and supportive environment, because building this damn freedom life thing, it's not just about the strategy. You've got all the strategy in there, from how to create profitable content, how to design and price and name and configure your offers and the messaging around it so your ideal clients find them irresistible in order to buy, how to do email marketing in a simple way that costs basically no money, how to do video marketing that fits your personality and your style, so you're not spending hours and hours re-recording and editing crap, because no one has time for that unless you're living in your rich parents' basement, okay? And I tend to not attract those kinds of people. All that stuff's there. But what really, really is such an important essence that I know your brain tells you it's backwards, right? You're thinking it's basically all strategy. It's not. That's 20% of it. And how I teach things is all emotional based. You learn my emotional based sales techniques, which I've been teaching for 16 years now to millions of people in multi-billion-dollar businesses to people just starting up. It applies to any kind of business out there, from a tire shop to a coach to a healthcare practitioner to a realtor, because we're going after emotions. And what do all human beings have? Unless you're a sociopath, you have emotions, and people buy off of emotions. People are compelled to listen to you and lean into you, whether you're offering something for free, like I am here on this podcast, or it's something for you to pay, like my Black Friday sale with my posse and with my brand new workbook, Make More and Work Less. That's $200 off. So go to projectmewithttiffany.com/Black Friday. So that's to get in the posse with the $2,200 in exclusive high-end bonuses. Literally, like I teach you my winning launch formula. You get my content creation made easy bundle and my exact content planner that I use. You get the ideal client magnifying system with printable workbook, which shows you how to grow your audience with actual people who you would really want to work with, who don't annoy you and who aren't just trying to be like, I call them content vampires, just like consume shit for you for free, but never buy from you. Like, we don't want those people. Those people aren't ready for you yet. And it teaches you all of that. So you can swipe up. It's in the show notes. It's also in the description here on ProjectME TV on YouTube. Shout out to my YouTube listeners. Drop something in the comments right now so I know you're there. I'm so happy that you guys comment in real time and you're having a lot of fun doing that on there. And then for my new workbook, I think we have a couple dozen left in this drop where I'm doing the $200 off for the first 200. And go to projectmewithttiffany.com/make more work less, my guided workbook video course. This is designed to transform your money story. This is the mindset component, your relationship to money. You don't do this shit. It doesn't matter if you work with me privately for a year and I meticulously plan out every single offer of yours, every single word in your copy, everything. That's not a service of mine, by the way. You'd have to pay me a fortune to do that. But let's just say I did that. Wouldn't matter if your money noise was disrupting it along the way. I promise you. I used to think like you, where I thought it was 80% strategy. So I just wanted strategy, and all the mindset stuff was annoying, just like how I operated at the gym. I just wanted to burn calories and build muscle, burn calories and build muscle. Fuck stretching. I don't need to stretch. Until I ruptured my spine at age 30 while in a kickboxing class while wearing sunglasses, hungover from being at the clubs the night before. You know what I'm saying? So until you actually learn the hard way, which I don't really wish for you, until you know, you don't know. And I'm hoping you believe me and you go, okay, I get what she's saying. You've got to have both. And so both are incorporated inside the posse. And the workbook is a beautiful add-on. So there's a reason I'm doing the double header. You want the double header to abundance, you get both. There's no reason you can't. The guided workbook course is $177. I've taken $50 off the initiation month of the posse. So it's $100. It's $3.33 a day. You can do the annual option in the posse, which you save even more money, or you can go month to month, whichever you please. I highly suggest you doing the annual option because you're setting a commitment to yourself and in the universe that you're in it. Like 2024 is your year, but I have both options for you. But let's add those together. So for $277, you're getting that perfect double header, and you're going to be going into 2024 and ending this year with changing your money story, because that workbook's designed to change that money story in 7 days or less. That is a no-brainer. And that's exactly why it's my Black Friday offer, is because I design things where it's a no-brainer, where I think you'd be absolutely nuts not to do it. Okay. Let's move on. I could go on and on about this stuff, but you know where the links are. You're doing the damn thing. If it's full, the page will say it's full. If it's sold out, it's sold out. So don't wait on it. If you have to pause and then come back to this episode, I will allow that. Let's talk about the giver in part 4. I have such an interesting relationship with this. I just like an addict is always an addict, even though they're not an active addiction, but that addict personality is there. I don't have an addict personality, but I have codependent personality. It truly is a personality disorder. It's a disordered way of thinking. It comes from childhood. I've done a gazillion years of therapy. I'm in support groups. I'm medicated, all the things, but that still lives within me. All of these 4 money languages, they all live within you. They're not fucking going anywhere. There's nothing wrong with any of these. Okay. We have to accept those sides of ourselves, just like there's nothing wrong with any of the 5 love languages. There's nothing wrong with any of the Myers-Briggs configurations. There's nothing wrong with any of the Enneagrams. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert or an extroverted personality. There's nothing wrong with having complex PTSD like I do, or having generalized anxiety disorder, or ADHD, or diabetes, or cancer. I mean, nothing is wrong with having any of these. It's the acceptance. It's the acceptance that this is part of my makeup that came in genetically, that came in from childhood, that came in from an injury, that came in from a traumatic event. And we have to first accept it, because otherwise you're in resistance of it and the pain just persists. You're just burning so much unnecessary energy. So the first thing I want to say to my fellow givers is accept that this is a part of you. It's a beautiful part. I get so many exhausted, depleted, burnt out, resentful, angry, irritated, frustrated, lonely overgivers that come to me, and they'll express all of that. And my heart goes out to, I get it, because I can fall into that if I'm not managing, doing all the things I do to manage being an overgiver. What we're trying to do here is keep these money languages and work with them, not against them. And also, in order to work with something, we also have to manage it, right? Like, you work with having complex PTSD, you work with having depression, you work with having anxiety. Trying to work against it, you're making everything so much harder on yourself. My givers, you guys tend to be in the healing professions, spiritual entrepreneurs, practitioners, therapists, and creatives as well. And it comes from really being in a relationship from childhood of feeling like you had to perform, you had to give in order to receive. And it was easier to focus on giving because it pleased other people. And it didn't feel safe somehow. It didn't feel safe for you to ask for what you needed, or you just knew you weren't going to get it. So you weren't going to ask, or you didn't want to bother a parent who is maybe like working 2-3 jobs, or there's a whole mixed bag in there. I grew up in that household. When you grew up with a narcissist, you're in a relationship with one, your needs do not matter. They can make you feel for a while that they matter, but that's all just an act. They don't really matter. And so when you learn that your needs don't matter and they're not going to get met, and no one really gives a fuck anyway, even if they pretend for a while that they do, then your next move is to ignore your own needs and focus on giving, because at least when you give, it does please people and it keeps you safe, and it makes people not necessarily abandon you because they have a good reason to keep you around, because you're fucking giving all the time. So my givers tend to have a tough time saying no, even if you've learned to say no through doing a lot of healing work, therapy, etc. You still get a ping in saying no. I still get a ping in certain situations. I'm pretty damn good at saying no now, but sometimes I get a ping. I get tested. And if someone really tries to work on me now, I'm really now I'll never say yes to you. So don't just put it notice to the universe. Don't bother sending me someone who's really trying to guilt or manipulate me into saying yes, because like literally in my mind, I go, okay, this person's dead to me. And I'm not joking. Often the giver feels unappreciated, taken advantage of. You're trading way too much time and energy and money even for little in return. But there's part of you that feels like that's what a caring person does. That's what a loving person does. That's what a woman of God does. That's what a spiritual man does. That's what a healing soul does. And so you've even created like a persona around the belief. There's guilt at the thought of charging more for your services, charging more for your products, or even giving less. So I know someone is in this giver money language when they come to me, or they're in the posse and they're sharing like what's in one of their programs, and there's like 50 different videos and a gazillion different bonuses, and they also get this and they also get this. It's like, holy shit, this must have taken you a fucking year to do. And then they're charging like something crazy, like $497. And you're like, what is happening? And because the thought is, I need to give more because then more people will buy, or I need to give more to justify the price. But it's actually less is more. When you overgive, like I said at the beginning of the show, it's a form of avoiding abundance. You repel abundance because overgiving is a form of scarcity. You don't overgive when you're your higher self, when you're in a stage of abundance, you don't overgive. Let me give you an example that you likely could relate to if you have the giver somewhere in your money language profile. So when I would get invited to go to someone's house, someone I could even know really well for dinner or whatever. I don't mean like someone like it's a housewarming or it's a graduation or something. Just like come over for dinner or come over and hang out. I always felt I had to bring a gift. I had to bring a bottle of wine. I had to bring a fucking candle. I had to bring hand soaps. I had to bring a dish, even though nothing was asked. And even I would ask, like, can I pick up anything? Do you want a coffee? Even if they say, oh, no, all good, everything's here, I would still do it. And you could say, well, that's being polite. That's customary, da, 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 da. Not when it's coming from the space of, I have to. And this is going to set a light bulb and alarms off for a lot of you. For me, it was a spot of most of the time, not when it's genuinely like giving a birthday gift or something, but it was most of the time of, oh, fuck, I don't have, like, I used to literally have like a gift closet of stuff. And I'd be like, oh, God, I don't have anything to bring over. Oh, I'm going to have to go to the store. I wasn't delighting in it. It wasn't for fun or for free. It was, I have to. And when we really dig further on it, me showing up empty handed, like if I forgot something, I was horrified. I would make up a story like this person thinks I'm horrible. How could I possibly be receiving this meal, this company, this entertainment at their house? And I'm at their house all evening and having cocktails and whatever, and I didn't give anything. The scarcity is that what did I give? My time, my presence. That's valuable, more valuable than anything else. But I didn't see that because I had no self-worth. No, I don't care if someone brings me a fucking candle if you come over. It's sweet, but people can feel the energy of if something is thought out, if it's for fun or for free. I don't care. Sometimes it actually can make people uncomfortable when people are always bringing something when you come to their house. And I know there's different cultures and there's different things, but like, fuck all of that. This show is for you and for you to dig on your own mind and your own healing in order for you to have the abundance in the life, in the short fucking life that we have, for you to have what you want. I said that I like would compartmentalize my emotions for this episode because I'm not really ready to talk about it, but I will be. My mentor and friend of 21 years died very suddenly last Monday. Well, it depends when you listen to this. So like, I don't know, a week, let's just say a week ago. The last person in the world, no family history, no like unhealthy markers, got cancer and is now dead and 6 months later. and is a prominent, well-known doctor with all the resources and connections in the best hospitals in the world, and the most feisty fucking person who loved life, who fought, who was someone who taught me how to fight for myself, is now dead. And I didn't mean for this to take like a sad turn. I'm saying this out of passion. This show is for you to wake up to yourself. It's called Project Me because you're the most exceptional project of your life, not all the other shit that you do. Yes, I know you have children and you have people that you, that's beautiful. That's great. That's part of it. But it's you. You come into this world alone. You're dying alone. Ultimately, you're with yourself. And if that relationship is not clutch, this is not going to be a cute life. The last thing I would want for you is that later in life, you're going, oh my God, I spent another 10 fucking years bringing goddamn candles to someone's house who didn't appreciate it. And when I would invite them over to my things, they wouldn't show up, or they showed up empty handed, or they didn't care. I need you to start saying no to things that don't feel good to you. Because when we're saying yes to things that really energetically, it's a no, you're also repelling that abundance, even though you think you're being an abundant person because you're being giving, you're being self-sacrificing. Self-sacrifice is not out of abundance, it's out of scarcity. Please, please hear me on this. You know, you might even feel guilty at the thought of doing less, but that's why I also named my new workbook course make more and work less. You're working way too hard for what you're getting in return in your career, in your relationships, in your health, and all of it, because that's where that giver is rooted. And then what happens is you don't want more money because that's tied to the belief that you're going to have to do more in order to get more, and you don't have any more to give. So as much as you want more money, because you do see as money would give you more options, and money would make it so you didn't have to do this, that, and the other. You could get more massages, or you could do more for yourself, or it could buy you more time. But then you have these repelling factors going on, like oil and vinegar. You have that going on because you want it, but you're thinking in order to get it, there's going to be more sacrifice, and you have no more to sacrifice because you're already giving so much and you resent it. And then you look at other people, maybe in your life, maybe strangers, or maybe you come up with stories about people, perhaps like me, and you're like, God, they're not having to give as much as I am, and they're getting so much in return. What's wrong with me? I used to think this all the time. Nothing is wrong with you. You just have this predominant money language that needs to be managed and needs to be accepted within you. And then we can work with it. Because the thought of making more and working less should not sound like a fantasy to you, but I understand it does. It probably even sounds like bullshit, because when we've been telling ourselves one story for so long and you come in here with something opposite, it's like almost like reverse gaslighting, like, what? Like gaslighting in the positive, but you're already gaslighting yourself in the negative. So you might as well gaslight yourself in the positive. If someone came to me even like 7 years ago and was like, you can make more and work less, I'd be like, I really want that to be true. I do see evidence of some people doing that, but I've always just said, like, they're just lucky. They're lucky, they're more talented, they're prettier, they have some talent I don't have, they got somewhere at the right place at the right time. I want it to be true so badly. And then at a certain point, when I lost my health from being the giver, I was forced to redesign how I structured and operated my first business, which I still have. I've had it 16 years. It's an 8-figure business. And I had no choice. So it was either shut it down, which that's not an option, because guess who the backup plan is over here at TLC Enterprises, Tiffany Carter, right? I'm the backup plan, right? Like there is no rich uncle to go to, right? It's me. So I had to have that income coming in because I wasn't going to compromise my lifestyle. I was willing to live like a little more carefully, in order to manage my health. But I didn't like the idea of sacrificing what I'd already built. Like, fuck that. And so I was like, you know what? There has to be a better way. This can't be the only fucking way. I'm not a fucking sheep. I've been programmed by the school system, by society, by corporate America to keep going this way, by culture, by media. Well, why can't there be another way? Look at all these interesting inventions. The fact we have self-driving cars now. It's like there's always another way. So why can't I experiment with another way? And so I did. And this is where Project Me was born because I promised myself that I would share it and teach it to millions of people the other way, the better way, the healthy way, the self-honoring way. Yeah, you work. I'm not here to tell you don't work, but you're going to work less and you're going to make more. We just had the ratio off. You don't need to like hustle, force, and grind 80% of the time for then in order for you to get 20% joy. We don't need to do it that way. Right. It's you can do the work. I would say 30% of the time. I do feel you could grow to where it's 20% work, 80%, you know, zero fucks given. If I wanted a different lifestyle or I didn't live somewhere as expensive as like these really nice communities I have homes in Los Angeles, I could absolutely do that. But it's also because I love what I do because I'm doing my calling. I'm not doing a career. But I would say like I think that magic number is right 30%, 70. And then the 30%, you better delight in that too. Not every day, because there's shit hits the fan over here too. You can't avoid that. No matter any profession, anyone in any profession. I don't care what the hell it is you do, because we're really dealing with ourselves. But I want you to honor yourself by giving less. That's part of your job with the working less. You need to get this workbook, my givers. Okay. It's projectmewithtiffany.com/make more, work less. That is right inside the show notes and in the description on YouTube. And obviously come into the posse, which is projectmewithtiffany.com/Black Friday. Look at where you can do less in your life. Start by saying no when you mean no. And there's so many different ways to say no. You're not available, not right now. There's a million, even if in the beginning you have to make up lies because saying no is far too scary for your nervous system. That's okay because it's not a lie that's going to harm somebody. It's a lie for self-preservation. But you have so much energy leakage because you're giving out. And the thing is that you are giving what you want to receive. So I want you to make a list of what you genuinely want more of in your life and take a look at how much you've been giving that out. Now, the next thing is you have to give that to yourself. You want more time. You want more space to do with what you want. You want more freedom. You want more rest. You want more love. You want more support. It starts by giving it to yourself. We can't attract what we are not. That was so hard for me to learn. I really thought that if I did all this stuff and favors and all these things for other people and clients and all of that, that was abundance. It's not when it's coming from a space of in hopes of receiving that in return. That's from a place of scarcity. That's from a place of I have to do all this shit at a level that's exhausting me in order to receive. It's not true. Where can you do less? Trust that what feels good to you is the amount of your capacity of what you can do right now. And that's more than enough. And when you're looking at how you've priced things, how you're creating things, ask yourself, what would the non-overgiver version of me do? You might even have to ask yourself, what would the selfish person, because you've probably labeled it at that. If I was selfish, I didn't give a shit, if I only cared about money, I would do blank. Well, I think we kind of need to play with that extreme. What would that version of you do? And then maybe the answer is the in between. It's like that black and white thinking, very common with the giver. It's either you're given everything, you're doing everything, or you're doing nothing. And you do it with yourself too. And it's just not working anymore. So can you commit to today of believing there is absolutely a different way to go about things? I do get to work less and make more. But that starts with you setting tighter boundaries within yourself, within other people. And you are going to displease some people when you're focusing on pleasing and honoring yourself. And it's scary because then you actually get to see people's true colors around you. And it's very sad and it's very hurtful. And many of these people are going to need to go. But if you're wanting what you say you want, if you lean into me, you lean into the show, you don't want to go through another 5 years, another year, another month of living how you've been living and what's going on. I'm telling you right now, this is the way. And there's some stuff that you have to do that's going to be radically foreign and uncomfortable to you, but it's 100% worth it. I can really speak to this one because I've done it. And so let's go back through the 4 languages. Make sure you're sharing this series with someone because it really enhances when I do these series to share it, and then you can have conversations around it. A lot of interesting stuff will come up. So part 1 was security and safety. 2 is the validator. 3 is the freedom seeker. 4 is the giver. So where are you on the giving? And remember, you could have this as a subset. I would say the giver is my sub 2. And my prominent one is security and safety. But you can manage this giver side of you. It's such a beautiful quality. You guys make such great practitioners and healers and coaches and support systems. But you can be all of those things. You can be the giver and be rich. Maybe you need to write that on a Post-it note and put it somewhere. Maybe you need to put that in your phone as the wallpaper and keep reminding yourself of that. Think about this. Shouldn't the giver actually be the most wealthy? We have it backwards where it's like the giver is like the martyr, was like the self-sacrificer. I've done it all and I'm left with nothing, and take everything, take the shirt off my back and I have nothing and it's noble. No, no, that's not noble. How about you're the giver and you already give so much to the world? You can't not, because it's part of your makeup. But the giver can be the ultimate receiver when you work with us, because as long as you're working and giving out of the energy of abundance, I've seen the biggest transformation with people who are givers. Once they manage it and they then open up their capacity to receive, because it can feel unsafe to receive as a giver when you've spent so much time focusing on putting out, on doing, on all the things instead of receiving. That can feel really vulnerable. That can feel really scary. That can feel very foreign. So we have to start desensitizing you to receiving slowly, right? If I put you in a scenario, and I saw some of this when I was at my friend Regina's retreat, Breathe, which is incredible. It's a heavy amount of it's on receiving. And there were some people in there where receiving was not a thing. They spent their whole life giving. And you can't force someone to receive. They will absolutely shove you away. They can't do it. It's too much. It's like you can't fire hose receiving on somebody. Have you ever tried to really love on somebody who felt so unlovable? They will lash out. They'll push you away. They'll ghost you. They can't do it. We've got to let this kind of even trickle in terms of receiving. So start by saying, right, as much as I give, I'm going to allow myself to receive. I'm open to receiving. I can't wait to see what unfolds for you. I hope that you loved this series. Excited to see you inside the posse and you to take advantage of that and set yourself up. Like, this year's not over. In fact, this is the most abundant season of the year. So let's use that energy and really magnify and multiply where you get to be at in your progress. So then when it does hit January 2024, you're already so primed. And I love using the analogy of like you have like a jar of pickles and I'm trying to open it and I can't open it and I hand it to someone else and they open it immediately and I'm like, how the hell? It's because I primed it. So you have to prime yourself. This is priming season, nesting season, and my workbook plus combo of the posse are perfect primers and supporters for you. Get in there. Don't wait. These spots will be gone. And I don't want to see you putting your abundance on hold for anybody else or anything else in your life because you don't know what could happen. If what just happened to my dear mentor and friend, Alex, if that happened to this man, I'm shooketh over this. And so we're everyone at the service absolutely shooketh because what it rattled us with, besides the fact of missing him, is that if it could happen to him, it could happen to any fucking one of us because he's the last person, absolute last person, just even based on medical facts and statistics, the last person. Don't fuck around anymore in this part of your life. It's here waiting for you. I promise you. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.